6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Malavarachi, read by Soundithavam. The President says that licensed landowners who possess only a permit will be granted a valid title deed next year. Today is Il Full Moon Poya Day. The expenditure of the Prime Minister's office was slashed by 46% last year. A 5,000 rupee salary hike for public servants from January. The Valav farmers will be compensated for their crop damages today. In international news, Hamas delays hostage release, accusing Israel of breaking truce deal. In sports, the Katakurunda 2023 Speed Third Racing meeting will be held on Sunday the 3rd of December. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that licensed landowners who possess only a permit will be granted a valid title deed. This budget proposal will be made a reality with the program scheduled to be implemented island-wide in line with the Independence Day celebrations on the 4th of February next year. The President made these comments at a District Coordination Committee meeting held in the Matale District Secretariat yesterday. The President further said that the agricultural export sector should be strengthened in the endeavour to rebuild the national economy. Accordingly, a special program will be implemented to promote minor export crops in the country. Under this plan, cocoa cultivation in the Kandy, Matale and the Kurunegala districts will be popularized and coffee and cinnamon plantations will be revitalized in these districts. The President added that special attention should be focused to generate innovative means of income. The state sector must work in collaboration with the private sector to make this initiative a success. The President also paid attention to the problems of the people living in the Matale district and provided direct solutions to many of the problems presented to him at this meeting. Today is Il Poya Day. This is the last Poya of the Vasana rainy season. With the end of Il Poya, the Katina Pinkama also should end. The Katina Pinkama is considered one of the most supreme deeds in Buddhism. During this time, Buddhist monks stay inside their premises due to heavy rains. A number of events took place on Il Poya Day: the announcement of the future Buddhahood of Maitreya Bodhisattva, the first Buddhist missionary activity by the 60 Arahat Jatila brothers entering the Buddhist order, and festival of Deva Arohana, or sent to heaven by Gautama Buddha, are some of them. The passing away of the chief disciple Sariputta and the laying of Gautama Buddha's Dakunu Aku Dhatua tooth in the right jaw in the first Dagaba Tuparama Chaitya, which is constructed by King Devanambya Tissa, are also significant events. To mark this Poya, many religious activities, including silk campaigns, have been organized in all temples and Buddhist centers throughout the island. The SLBC National Service broadcasts Poya programs from the Himbutawalgoda International Buddhist Center in Kalaniya today. An all-night Pirit chanting ceremony will also be held there. The City FM service will air Poya programs from the Sri Mahindarama Temple in Thorakolayaya in Ambalipitia today. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that the expenditure of the Prime Minister's office was slashed by 46% last year when compared to that of the previous year. The amount in 2021 was 1,660 million rupees and was reduced to 1,310 million rupees in 2022. The staff, which is over 500 persons earlier, had been slashed up to 285 at present. The Premier says that even with this reduced number of staff, daily services are maintained efficiently. The government is exploring the option of providing 5,000 rupees of the proposed pay increase of 10,000 rupees from January 2024, followed by the balance from April. Discussions were held regarding this during a meeting of the State Revenue Unit chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently. The discussions are based on the figures presented in the 2023 expected financial report of the State Revenue Unit from the President's office, which indicated that the salary increase can be feasibly implemented as early as January. Accordingly, starting from January, government employees can expect a raise of 5,000 rupees, while pensioners will receive a full increase of 2,500 rupees. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Minister of Agriculture has taken measures to pay compensation to farmers in the Valava region for the damage of their crop in the past Yala season. Accordingly, 1,030 farmers will be symbolically compensated today at a ceremony to be held at the D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial Auditorium in Ambalipitia. Minister Mahinda Amaravira will be the chief guest of this occasion. A sum of 328 million rupees has been allocated for the payment of the compensation in the Valava region. The Court of Appeal will take up for further consideration the petition against the Sri Lanka Cricket Interim Committee tomorrow. The relevant petition is taken up before the Appellate Court judges Sobita Rajakaruna and D.N. Samarakund. The writ petition was filed by Sri Lanka Cricket President Shammi Silva against the Minister of Sports. Minister Roshan Ranasinghe, through his lawyer, gave an assurance not to take any further action regarding the Gazette notification issued by the Minister until the next court date. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Sri Lanka's indigenous people said to number 500,000 who have sought a special law to ensure their traditional rights during a meeting with the Minister of Justice Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. Sri Lanka was settled by immigrants from India who took over the land of an indigenous people according to legend, and the historical record also shows the presence of the megalithic pre-Indianized settlements. Uruvarge Vannilatto, the de facto leader of the Sri Lanka's indigenous people, have told the Justice Minister that there is a community of about 500,000 people in the Badulla, Monaragala, Ampara, Batikla and Polonnaruwa areas. The first people of Sri Lanka did not have clear legal recognition, and there were impediments to practice their traditions, social, cultural, economic, civil and political rights. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Moving on to Watchlight, a parliamentary committee revealed that 168 cases of child sexual abuse have been reported in the month of September this year, while 22 girls under the age of 16 have become pregnant. It was revealed during a special discussion at the Committee on Public Finance held in Parliament recently, with the representatives of civil organizations, including the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, in order to get ideas and suggestions on the budget proposals presented for the year 2024 and the policies to be prepared in this country. The representatives of the civil society organizations were of the view that creating a systematic program to provide sex education for children is a very urgent need, the Communication Department of Parliament said. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news. Making headlines this morning, Hamas delays hostage release, accusing Israel of breaking truce deal. Uttarakhand tunnel collapse, rescuers to dig by hand to rescue trapped workers. And Bowie's handwritten lyrics could sell at auction for £100,000. Hamas has announced it is delaying the release of further Israeli hostages. A statement by its military wing says Israel has broken the terms of the truce deal, a claim that Israel has denied. A Hamas official told the BBC that Israel had stopped 97 aid trucks from reaching northern Gaza and also flew drones over southern Gaza. A group of up to 14 hostages have been expected to be released yesterday. Rescue work to save 41 workers trapped in a tunnel in India's Uttarakhand state has been delayed by at least 4 to 5 days because the drilling machine broke down inside the tunnel. Rescuers will begin digging manually once the faulty part is removed. The workers have been stuck inside the tunnel for 2 weeks after a portion of it collapsed due to a landslide. The operation has been challenging due to the presence of rocks, stones and metal inside the debris. David Bowie's handwritten lyric sheet for 2 of his songs could fetch up to £100,000 when it is sold at an auction. They contain the late singer's corrections, drafts and notes when creating his tracks Rock and Roll Suicide and Suffragette City. Both feature on his 1972 classic, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. The auction house previously sold a page of Bowie's handwritten lyrics for his hit Starman for £165,000. Back to the headlines of the world news. Hamas delays hostage release, accusing Israel of breaking truce deal. Uttarakhand tunnel collapse, rescuers to dig by hand to rescue trapped workers. And Bowie's handwritten lyrics could sell at auction for £100,000. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
Sri Lanka has initiated initial steps to expand the Colombo port, first by constructing the West Container Terminal 2, followed by the Colombo North Port. A consortium led by Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited is building the West Container Terminal at the Colombo port with an investment of some $1 billion. The terminal is designed to handle 3.5 million 20-foot equivalent units a year. The first phase of the terminal, with a berth length of 800 meters, is expected to start operations by December 2024. That's development news.
Moving on with sports news.
The Nippon-paid Katakurunda 2023 Speed Third Racing Meeting is to be held on Sunday, the 3rd of December, on the Katakurunda Air Base track organised by Sri Lanka Automobile Sports. Due to several restrictions, drivers were unable to get their spare parts, and the past 2 years had only seen a few racers coming forward to take part. The president of SLAS, Ashar Mamin, addressing media briefing held at the National Olympic Committee Auditorium recently, said that over 100 competitors from all affiliated racing clubs have sent in their entries. Altogether, 13 events are scheduled to be run on this day, made possible by the Air Force giving its consent to use the track. That's sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's cabinet has approved a free trade agreement which will see about 80% of tariff lines liberalised over 15 years. Cabinet spokesman Bandalu Gunawardena said about 5% of tariff lines will be partially freed. From year 15 to 18, the agreement is expected to be signed in February next year. That's business news, economic news up next.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. Sri Lanka is eyeing to earn $200 million annual income from foreign ships traversing in its waters by developing electronic navigation charts, the State Defence Minister said, as the island nation is in the process of coming out of an unprecedented economic crisis. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has already issued a gazette for the Navy to start the creation of electronic navigation charts. State Defence Minister Pramita Bandara Tennakoon said, "The Sea of Sri Lanka is a route where all ships travel. We have realised that through such charts, Sri Lanka can earn $200 million, he said. That's economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the Sabaragama, Central and Uva provinces after 2 p.m. Several spells of showers may occur in the northern and eastern provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragama, Central and Uva provinces during the morning as well. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President says that licensed landholders who possess only a permit will be granted a valid title deed next year. Today is Full Moon Poya Day. The expenditure of the Prime Minister's office was slashed by 46% last year. A 5,000 rupee salary hike for public servants from January. The Vallava farmers will be compensated for their crop damages today. Hamas delays hostage release, accusing Israel of breaking truce deal. And the Katakurunda 2023 Speed Third Racing Meet will be held on Sunday, the 3rd of December. With that, we conclude this morning's news broadcast, and now it's back to hostess Chagi to keep you well entertained this Sunday morning. Good morning, Chagi, and it's all yours.